Good morning, Husker fans, and welcome back to the Husker Big Red YouTube channel. We're back for one of our Saturday morning chats to kind of wrap up the week that was for the Nebraska Cornhuskers. So thanks to everybody that's going to be joining us live here in the comments. Thanks for anybody that will be watching on the replay. Before we get into it, if you haven't already, please do us the favor of subscribing to the channel, hitting the like button. If you subscribe to the channel, you won't miss any more of our chats. We usually do these more during the regular season, but we do have some people that like to join us on these Saturday mornings. So we've kind of kept it rolling. So if you guys, want to jump in the chat, let us know what type of, stuff you want to talk about, any topics. But generally, I think we'll be talking, some recruiting, the primetime matchup with Colorado, maybe some 2024 win projections, since those have kind of been updated after spring football. But Danny, how you doing this morning, man?
Not great. My Bruins let me down again. They always let me down, but they let me down again last night. I mean, it's like clockwork. I always say when I go to die, the Bruins should let me down in my grave one last time, and they did it. They let me down again last night. But looking forward to brighter days with the Celtics and brighter days for the Cornhuskers. So,
So are the Bruins like out of it now,
yeah,
or
yeah. I forgot
that's
you're not
tough.
a big hockey. Well, you're not a big hockey fan, I should say, but yeah, they're out of it.
Yeah, that's a bummer. So was that like the conference semifinals, or?
Yeah, it was. And actually, to turn this around back to Nebraska, I believe, uh, didn't the hockey team get moved up to Division II now, if I'm not mistaken?
I'm not sure about that. I don't know. I mean, are they doing like club hockey? Because I don't think Nebraska has an actual
I
hockey
believe it
team.
was club. I wish they would do like a D1 college team because I mean, this covering Michigan, like Midwest hockey is absolutely phenomenal. So I wish Nebraska would have like a D1, like have rivalries with Minnesota and Michigan State and Michigan, like that's some quality hockey there.
The fans would support it too. I mean, so that would be
100%.
fun, and yeah, it'd be interesting. I think doesn't UNO have hockey? I can't quite remember, but I feel
Yeah,
like they
they
do.
do.
Or Omaha, excuse me. Yeah, University
Omaha
of
does,
Omaha.
yeah.
That's UNO. So I didn't mess it up, but it would be, yeah, it'd be interesting to see if that would come back to Nebraska. I know there's always, Title IX and stuff like
Yeah.
that you have to consider, but they could always add women's hockey too. I know
Yeah,
there's been
women's hockey is
a
fun too.
push for
It's
that.
fast, yeah.
Yeah, Michigan's been talking about adding women's hockey, so potentially, they could add both, but it would be always fun to add, more sports, and hockey is definitely one of the bigger, I would say, it's one of the major five sports in the United States, right there with baseball. And, the baseball team, obviously for Nebraska, the Cornhuskers got a couple of big wins this weekend. Brett Sears was incredible again on Friday night. Yesterday, the, Huskers just drilled Michigan State. So beat them 11-3, and so still have a chance to win the Big Ten championship. They do need some help from Purdue knocking off Illinois, but if that happens and Nebraska wins today, they will be Big Ten regular season champions, which would be a pretty big achievement, I think, for a Will Bolton company.
Yeah, especially when you consider how kind of up and down this team has been towards the end of the season. Getting that conference championship would be a nice way to kind of tie the bow on things and not wrap it up because there's still a lot to play. But at the same time, you look at just the dominating season from Brett Sears and how he's been able to kind of be the anchor for the pitching staff, and it seems like everything is coming together for Nebraska baseball at a time when it needs to come together most. So, getting some more wins this weekend would be phenomenal.
Yeah, and as far as where they sit with the NCAA tournament, according to D1Baseball.com, they're pretty solid in their number 2 seed in the region with the number 10 overall seed. And you have to remember with NCAA baseball how it works is there's only 16 seeded teams, 64 team tournament, 16 teams get seeded, and then beyond that you're seeded within your region 1, 2, 3, or 4. So they would be in the region with the number 10 seed, which would be Oklahoma according to these projections, and they would be the number 2 seed. So that would put them in the top 32, overall. Which makes me feel pretty confident that regardless of what happens this weekend or in the Big Ten tournament, I'm in Omaha next week, they're going to be making the NCAA tournament. So I think that they saved that, with their
Right.
series win over Indiana last week and this week over Michigan State. So they're going to be in the field of 64, but It is a little disappointing looking back at some of those losses they had during the middle of the week, especially, to Kansas State. That other one that they had to, I can't remember who it was, but a lower program that was kind of their one really bad loss in the RPI, because they're like 26 or so, and they're in the mid 20s in the RPI, but they were, in the top 20. And if they were still in the top 20 in the RPI, I think they'd have a shot, if they won like the Big Ten tournament, of hosting a regional, which would be incredible. And it's difficult for Big Ten teams to do, but seems like that won't happen now. But a Big Ten title is still a Big Ten title, and that's nothing to scoff at.
Absolutely not. Especially, we talked about, the quality hockey in the region. The baseball, it has quality teams too. So that is definitely nothing to scoff at. And, it was Nebraska's first trip to Michigan State since 2021. And, so far things have been going really good for them, this weekend. And, and what is, Illinois clinched a share, I believe, of the Big Ten title last night. So, Nebraska just needs to focus on getting the job done, and then we can take it from there.
Yeah, so it'll be, I believe you can actually watch the game today on the Big Ten Network. I'll have to double check the time, but it is going to be on this afternoon. So if you want to check that out, Nebraska baseball fans, it is that time of year. So let me just double check here the schedule.
And while you're double checking that, I'll answer Mitch's question. Probably some of them do, but you could recruit very well around the area, like Minnesota, North Dakota, kind of Illinois, even. Like, you could recruit the Midwest pretty well. And I'm sure there would be interest, because it seems like with these fans, you could put on like a hamburger eating contest, and as long as there's a Nebraska representative that show up and support. So I think there would be interest there. It may not be recruiting like local kids from Nebraska a ton, but I think there would be interest there. And, I think there's interest in, Nebraska, like hockey in the state of Nebraska as well. I think, football will always be king, but I think there would definitely be some interest, especially if you, during those months. I mean, you have basketball and things like that, but it would be great to kind of, have a hockey team in the winter months too.
Mitch now says that he wants a burger, so thanks for that, Danny. He says,
I want a burger right now too, even though it's 8:30 in the morning. I'm always down for a burger. What's your favorite burger topping, Chris?
I just like a good old cheeseburger. I don't like a lot of toppings. Sometimes I get the bacon, but I'm really finicky about bacon. I really like bacon, but I'm really finicky about bacon on my food, because I don't like when it's, when it's not crunchy enough, and then you take a bite and you're like pulling it out of the sandwich. That pisses me off.
When you like lose a tooth in your bacon because you're chewing it so hard.
Yeah, so I'm not I do like the onion ring on there sometimes with the barbecue sauce. That's pretty solid if you've ever had that.
Good. I like relish, and I could never understand why people don't, because it's just a pickle. Like, it's just pickles.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of relish though. But
what do you think about bacon flavored ice cream? Because that is a thing.
No, don't like that. I've had the bacon, I've had chocolate covered bacon, and it's okay. But I'm just not. I don't like to mix foods. Well, I like to have my separate foods. When I have my dinner plate, I like all my food to be separated. I have like little barriers of food I don't like it to touch. So I'm very particular about it. But
my mom's exactly the same way. She's so finicky with her food. It's like, touch it, like, you can't touch here. You got to be, on the plate this way and separate ways. I'm like, just give me the food. I'm starving. I'll eat whatever.
Yeah, that's funny though. I know some people like the fried egg on the burger, but that's just can't take that step.
No, I mean, if it's a breakfast burger, then like maybe. But I'm not really a huge egg guy, to be honest with you. I like scrambled eggs, but other than that.
The only place the only place segregation is acceptable is on the dinner plate. Yeah, man, you can't be like, when you have gravy, I don't like the gravy to get on other food, so I have to set up like a barrier of mashed potatoes. It's like I build the little mini wall of China of mashed potatoes to keep the gravy from getting to my other food. It's the whole thing. It depends what I'm eating, what all I got though.
I love gravy on everything. I really do love gravy on everything.
Gravy I do on most things, but yeah, it just depends. Sometimes I got the barriers and stuff.
Make a little gravy boat in your mashed potatoes and Sorry to the 13 people that were expecting Nebraska news, but this is your Saturday morning chats for you.
Yeah, sometimes that's where it goes. But I did want to. So, as far as the baseball, it's actually kind of set up pretty nice today. So you got the Huskers 11 a.m. Central Time on the Big Ten Network. So the first pitch there, you can watch that game. Then if they win, you can turn around at 2 Central Time and watch Illinois and Purdue play, because that's kind of the other domino that needs to fall. Purdue has to beat Illinois today, or Illinois win the Big Ten championship. So Illinois needs a win or a Nebraska loss. Nebraska needs a win plus an Illinois loss. That's the scenario. So if you really want to sit in and watch it, you got 6 hours of baseball. You could do that today, but I'll probably watch the Nebraska game, probably not the Illinois one. But I just feel like whenever I watch whenever I want other teams to lose, they never do. So it is what it is.
I mean, I survived Georgia Southern with you, Chris. I can pretty much watch any Nebraska event now and be okay. I've gotten past the point. I just expect us to lose, and then when we win, I'm so excited. And I know that's the wrong way to think, but it is what it is. The wild whiskey guy knows.
He said, "Down with the fibs." The whiskey guy knows what a fib is. I'm not sure what a fib is. Do you know?
I do not know. But you could feel free to explain it to us, because that doesn't sound too good. But do you know what does sound good? And this is where my brain's going, and I'm sorry, everybody. NCAA 24 just announced for July 16th this week. I'm so excited. What system do you have? Do you have Xbox?
I got the Xbox. I got the
Xbox. Crossplay
Series
Dynasty
S.
is not going to be a thing, apparently. So I'm disappointed.
Oh, it is? I thought it was going to be.
I was reading something on the internet that said it wasn't, but either way, I'm excited. I'm probably not going to get the $150, pre-order early version, because I just don't have that money right now. But I will get it. I'm excited to. I guess you can build a program, create a team and then build a program. So I might do that. I might take my local UMass, University of Massachusetts team, home of Victor Cruz, and make them into a dynasty. I guess it's going to be the
fighting Don Browns.
Yep. Yeah, Don Brown was actually a pretty good coordinator, and he was ruined at Boston College by the incompetency of Steve Adazio. But anyway,
and he got ruined at Michigan because Ohio State stole the sign so bad. That's really what happened. Everybody figured out and they figured out the blitz. It pretty much, he just blitzed too much. But
that's the one thing I do
State
remember.
Definitely. Well, and it helped because Ohio State definitely had the signs. Which I'm not saying they got them illegally. They probably got them off the scoreboard or whatever, which anybody can do. That's why the whole sign scandal is just the dumbest thing ever, because it's literally even if you think Connor Stallions did all that stuff, it's literally to go through all the same information that you can get anyway. Like, the guy was just a dumbass. It had zero impact on anything, but But at any rate, for Don Brown, it definitely. Unfortunately for him at Michigan, what's funny is that at Michigan, I was saying that Don Brown needed to go since 2017. And after every big game, I would compile a list of his scoring averages against top 25 teams of how many points, because if you play Air Force or somebody, they would pitch a shutout. But anytime they play anybody competent, they just get torched, because if you can pick up the blitz, you could beat Don Brown.
That's the exact same thing that happened at BC. And people were upset when, he was no longer head coach, or not the head coach, but defensive coordinator at BC. But he blitzed so heavily that teams kind of knew what was coming. I miss Don Brown, and I also miss offensive coordinator Ryan Day.
He wasn't too bad at all. But I think, with Brown, I think he's a good head coach, and he, recruited to Massachusetts really well. Michigan got a bunch of players from there. Which probably didn't help them also in the long run. There's good talent in Massachusetts, but you don't want that to be one of your top recruiting pipelines. But
no, if you're looking for an offensive lineman, it's a pretty good place here.
Zach Zinter. Zach Zinter is one I think of for sure.
Chris Lindstrom, my friend, actually, I know the family well. He got drafted into the NFL with the Falcons, but and he just signed a 5-year, $100 million contract last year. I'm like, damn, yeah, good for you, bud. Now send me about $20 million over, and we'll call it even. No, I'm just kidding, Chris. If you see this, I'm kidding. But I'm like, what do you do with $100 million? Crazy.
Invest it. Hopefully, give a lot to Uncle Sam, and then
Yeah,
hopefully invest the rest so you don't ever never have to work a day in your life, and your kids never have to work a day in their life. At least like
and that's the thing I always told him too. Like, and he knows this, but and not that I would ever wish this to happen, but one injury and your career's done, and a lot of these players don't have a backup plan or money or things like that. So he's really smart, and he's definitely put some money away, I'm assuming, but it's just crazy. But I'm happy for him because you know how it's like in Montana and stuff like that. When you see these local kids get national recognition and things, it's really exciting.
it is pretty cool. Yeah, definitely. It is fun to see it happen. And yeah, I'll be watching, my guy from Great Falls, Reed Harris, I think is going to have a good year for your
He is. He's
Boston
getting a lot
College
of buzz this
Eagles.
spring. So
Yeah, he's legitimate player. He's like, I think he's the third or fourth highest ranked recruit Montana's ever had in its history, at least in the 24/7 sports era. So he's a
who's
big
number
time.
one? You know,
Oh my gosh, I do know it's I'm blanking now that
I'm
you
gonna look
put me
this
on the
up and
spot,
you
but
keep talking. How about that?
he's from Montana. It's really you'd have to go back. It's like from 1999. He played at Stanford. It's like Blake Anderson or something like that. He didn't really make it. He got hurt and but anyways, Mitch does have a question too. Question with these NCAA games: does the roster update over time as the roster updates in real time over time? Because that would be pretty sweet.
That's a good
Um,
question.
so I don't think there's going to be. I'm going to say no on that because basically, if you don't really know that much about video games, I mean, if there's like in-season roster updates, but in college football, I don't think there's really going to be. I mean, after after right now, the roster is pretty much set. You can't enter the transfer portal until after the season at this point. So there's not. I mean, like you could add a transfer, obviously, if it was like somebody who entered the portal or whatever, but I am guessing that the roster is going to be what the roster is in terms of the actual players until you buy the new game. So essentially, that's how they kind of get you to buy the new game every year, get the new Madden is because it has the new rookies and yada yada. And so that
Although, oh, sorry, go ahead.
well, I mean, what you can do with Madden now is you can import the rookies from this game. So I mean, at least you've been able to do that in the past, assuming you'll be able to do that in the future. But
Do
instead of using like created draft classes where people just spend time creating all these players, you actually get, you can import the college football players like into your Madden draft and update your rosters with them. So
There's also offline files that people with way more time than me do, and they like redo roster.
yeah,
They do the redone rosters on Madden because chances are I'm not going to be playing online too much. I'm just going to be playing Dynasty and Road to Glory because they're bringing back Ultimate Team, and in my opinion, Ultimate Team of any game mode of any sport has ruined video games. But I am going to be
I've never done Ultimate Team. I don't really
like
get it
it's
or
fun because you get
understand
to
it.
play
So
like fantasy players. Like right now on my Madden Ultimate Team roster, I have Kyler Murray at quarterback. I just picked up Chris Godwin, Justin Jefferson, and Randy Moss at wide receiver. Like so, it's fun. Like if you like just want to like have a fantasy like type of thing, but then you have the 11-year-olds that get mom's credit card and spend like $500 on Ultimate Team, and then I get beat by said 11-year-olds, and I just get mad. So I don't really play too much. But I mean, for me,
yeah,
I'm just
that doesn't really I'm just more about the realistic. I mean, Dynasty mode is cool, I think, but I just like that building a super team that doesn't appeal to me.
although it is fun to play with like Barry Sanders and
Yeah, that would be fun.
I have Reggie White on my defense, and that's pretty cool. But I don't spend any money on it. I just build it slowly over time because it's fun to build. Fun to build a roster, and uh, it was really cool to see on the trailer where the Boston College players touch the
That was
Eagle
cool.
statue because I've been down there and they do that in real life, and it's pretty cool that they added it there.
Yeah, I think they added. I mean, like I was telling you, because I did buy it. I went ahead and bought it. It's my Father's Day present, so my wife gave me permission, so I got it on pre-download. It's massive. The game is freaking massive. It's like 350, whatever megabytes or whatever it is, on the game system. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, 350. So like if you look like I had Starfield on my Xbox, and this is like three times the size of Starfield, and Starfield's a pretty expansive game. And so I think all those celebrations and the rosters and all that traditions and stuff, I think that it's to me that makes me very hopeful that the game is going to
Yeah.
be exactly what we thought, because I mean, Madden last year, I looked at my Madden for 24 Madden's like 56.
Because
You know,
Madden's a joke. Madden's a joke now, and the funny thing is they're offering bundles like Madden and like this one for like 100, whatever, and I'm like, no, because I did back in the day. I did the Madden 09 and the NFL head coach bundle, and I got that bundle. But I'm not gonna get. I'm so tired of Madden. I'll only get Madden if it's like on Game Pass or discounted or something like that. Because like I got like Madden like free of my Game Pass for my birthday, but it's just like I'm glad I didn't buy it like when the season started or whatever, because it's just not good anymore. Now, did
see,
you
I
get
mean,
the
I think it's
early
okay.
access version?
I did, yeah. So I got the MVP bundle, so I got early access. I did get Madden, because I only got Madden on Game Pass last year, and I don't know. I still think it's cool. I don't know. I know people get frustrated with it, but I mean, I guess I just am worried about
Well, do you
like the
buy Madden
gameplay.
every year?
No, I mean, I haven't had a system, so no, I'm not gonna buy it ever. I'm not gonna
That's
rebuy
why
it.
you think it's cool. That's why you think it's cool, because
Well, yeah, because I haven't played it for like a decade, so
yeah.
So to
No, I
me,
can
I
see
mean,
that. Like
and the
I've like
gameplay, I think the gameplay is pretty like after not playing it for like like the blocking is so like you can actually run the football now. So I
yeah,
mean, I think that's really cool. I mean, I know that people get they wish there was more, I guess, in the franchise mode.
yep.
I don't know, but like I don't know. I just play every week, and I don't know. I think it's cool. I do think that I wish there were some things that were more realistic in the franchise mode, but I don't know.
So
I'm easy to please, I guess.
I mean, it also helps if you haven't gotten a game in like so long, and now you have a game, and
Plus, I'm sick of on the 24 Madden, Jordan Love sucks. So I need the 25. I need him upgrade because he's like a 75. And so sometimes like I'm really trying to make, I'm playing like Patrick Mahomes, I'm getting my ass kicked because I really can't make the throws that I know Jordan Love can make. And part of it is that I'm not a very good player too, but it's just, I'm
just
like,
that
come
little
on,
detail,
man.
just that little detail. But Jordan Love still sucks.
But it's still, I'm like, he shouldn't be like a 70. He should at least be like a mid 80 or something. You know what I mean? Like
No, I've been there. It's like
that's a
Patrick
pretty big
Mahomes.
difference. That's a
Patrick
pretty big
Mahomes, why are you
difference.
throwing into quadruple coverage? It's your fault.
I know I'm on my defense and Mahomes never misses, and I'm just like, this isn't cool, man. And I was like, and then I'm just thinking, like, man, if I was playing with Patrick Mahomes, I'd be hitting all these throws, because you have more margin for error when you're like.
And then you have those superstar X factors. Have you gotten the animation? I don't know if you played too much with Mahomes, but where he's like falling down and he like throws it, because that was a big
Yeah.
controversial thing this year. You have?
Oh yeah, I have. Yeah.
How what's that like? I've never seen it. Like all the.
I don't know. It seems pretty realistic. I mean, I don't know. I think that's pretty. I think Madden's pretty
Like you're
cool.
falling down and you throw a 50-yard bomb down the field. Like, okay, Patrick Mahomes.
I can't remember. Yeah, and they say like throwing out of a sack type thing, But yeah, but I did get the MVP bundle. Just because I definitely wanted to get it early. I mean, I was going to get Madden anyway, just because now that I can shift over the players, I really want to be able to do that. I probably won't get it again in the future unless it is on the Game Pass, like you're saying. But I definitely wanted to have it this year. So yeah, it'll be July 16th, I believe, is when it's coming out. So
you'll get it July 13th.
no, I think the game comes out July 19th. The early edition's July 16th, I think.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
So I wish it was July 13th. I am going to pre-download it though and see if maybe there's a glitch and I can play it. How cool would that be? I'm sure
That'd be so cool. Let me know how long it takes to download, because it sounds like it's going to take a while.
I'm going to have to actually buy an external because I just got the one that didn't have as much, memory, because I didn't know how much memory space I was going to need. So I'm going to need like either I need to delete like a bunch of games or I just need to buy a memory card. So
I'll delete the old Maddens and stuff that I have, all the old MLB the shows and stuff.
Yeah, see, anyway, but yeah, it's gonna be freaking cool. I can't wait. I was disappointed though, I have to say, that Nebraska, like that the tunnel walk wasn't in there. I can understand like no on-field highlights, but Boston College got their walk in there, and we had Clemson. Who else did we see? I mean, there was a lot of I just felt
Oklahoma, I think.
Yeah, I mean,
USC.
Just showing part of the tunnel walk, would that have been that hard? I don't think so. And I think
I wanted to highlight all the conferences, and as far as the pecking order of the Big Ten, like, not that Boston College is a giant in the ACC, but I mean, I don't know. We need to win.
It's a cool.
We got a flag on the cover though.
Yeah, that's true. You're right. We did get a flag on the cover, which was better than nothing. And the treatment for Nebraska was better than the treatment for Ohio State, man. They really got, because they had Brutus in there one time, but they had the guy getting stiff armed by Donovan Edwards, and then they had a highlight of Illinois beating them
Someone's a Michigan fan on the
for the
development team.
Illabuck. Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean that was pretty funny.
Someone's a Michigan fan on the development team.
That the official, the official Ohio State account even tweeted, they're like, one of those clips wasn't necessary, and then all the Michigan fans are like, which one? Just like when Ryan Day was like, we had one bad half in 2 years, and we're all like, which one? The 28-14 half or the 28-3 half? But anyway. As far as Nebraska, though, I can't wait to play with Dylan Raiola. That's going to be fun. And, I think he's going to be wouldn't shock me if he was somewhere near the cover someday in the future, a couple years down the road, maybe. Because it's so different now, because we've literally never had this where it's been the player's always been graduated, because they couldn't do it that way. So, I mean, yeah, he could, like, if he's awesome these next 2 years, he could be a candidate to be on the cover as a junior. I mean, it's not like that out of the realm of possibility. It's going to be weird every year to see how, that kind of happens. It's going to be like Madden again, Hopefully the Madden curse doesn't apply.
I know. I don't even say that. Maybe TJ Lateef way down the road. Hopefully. That'd be nice.
Maybe it'll apply for Travis Hunter, because DR is going to throw some touchdowns against his ass on September 7th.
Prime time.
Against, I can't wait for that game. I want that win so bad. Like, I don't even care about anything. I just want to beat Colorado. And then we had Colorado fans that were commenting on our last video saying they were saying Colorado's going to come in and beat Nebraska by 30.
No, like, that's not no chance.
Dude. There's no chance. Last year you beat us by 23, and that was like everything went your way. I mean, yeah, you kicked our butt last year, no question about it. But I mean, our quarterback,
not even everything went their way. We had Jeff Sims.
Well, that's what I mean. The first drive of the game, we drive down to the 25-yard line, then the dude fumbles a snap, and I wish that was the only snap he fumbled in the game, but it was not. And we moved the ball into their territory like every time. We just turned it over. So I mean, as long as that doesn't happen this year, I think we're going to have a good chance. I don't see us losing that game by. They might lose, but it's not going to be by 30 points. I mean, come on. That's ridiculous.
Not at all, because Dion doesn't know how to coach. And I don't care if people come at me when I say that, but I don't think he knows how to coach a big-time college football program.
Yeah, I don't. I think that I don't see how how's he going to make it past this year. I mean, we'll see with them in the Big 12, but
because they got a tough schedule.
Yeah, and then once you lose, I mean, once you got Shadur and Travis Hunter, once you lose those guys, that program has nothing, absolutely nothing. There is nobody. I mean, that might be saying it a little strongly. There's some decent players there. I'm not saying those guys can't play, but those two players are doing a lot.
I mean, because he said he won't go with his sons, but I mean, you never know with him. He could be going, say they have a good year. He's gone to, I don't know. I was going to say Florida State, but Norvell, I think, has got some pretty good job security there. But some other program in Florida, or maybe he goes somewhere else for a bigger opportunity, and then that program is not going to be what it is kind of now with all the talent coming in.
I think, it's going to be difficult for him because, I mean, he won't recruit. He will not recruit. So I don't know what kind of game he's playing, but, you have Matt Rule, who's taken literally hundreds and hundreds of visits in the same time that Prime hasn't taken one. And you can't tell me that doesn't make a difference. So I don't care who and his excuse, like, I'm too big of a deal. If I go to a high school campus, it makes too big of a show. And it's just like, what are you talking about? You're a joke. You're becoming a joke. Nick Saban is just as big a deal as you, and he never had a problem going to any of it. It's like because you were a good NFL player 30 years ago, people don't care that much. I mean, they really don't. So
was it really 30 years ago?
I mean, yeah, he hasn't been good since he played 20 years ago, I guess.
There we go. I like 20 sounds a lot better.
But yeah, when Prime was Prime, though, when he was Prime and actually in his prime, was 30 years ago, mid-90s. I was like 10 years old.
Well, it's like the whole thing, like the Nebraska tradition, selling the kids on the Nebraska tradition. They don't care because they've never seen it. I mean,
exactly.
It's the whole concept of selling them on traditions and things like that. Okay, if you're Alabama, you won the national championship recently, but if you haven't won anything in quite some time, then traditions are irrelevant. Facilities, are what's going to be what drives the boat here, and ours looks pretty damn good.
And Mitch says, and Rule spends
That
all
is a
day
good
with
point too.
3rd to 8th graders in Omaha coaching and meeting kids and families. He invests time in people, and where Prime just he expects, I mean, the fact that he's using his son, he was using his sons like, hey, hit me up if you're going to come in the transfer portal. Like, that's just pathetic. But I should say, meant to, before we get too far off topic in terms of the transfer portal, Nebraska did miss on a transfer portal target this week, Jaden Mangum, which I wasn't that optimistic about it, but
I never really thought we were in on him too hard in the first place.
I think it would have been nice to get him. I think they maybe wanted him because then they could say, like, okay, Malcolm, you can just play cornerback now. We don't need you at safety. You can just play corner. And that would have been a luxury. I wrote it in my thing that it would have been a luxury to get Jaden Mangum. I don't think it was a necessity. So
yeah,
I'm not like overly broken up about it.
No.
But yeah, he is a good player. He had 4 interceptions. He played well against us, but safety is one of the positions I'm not really worried about. And frankly, I don't know if there's a position that I'm at. There's not like one position where I'm like, man, I really wish we would have added another player here or there. I feel pretty good. No, I mean, yeah. I think Ovano will be okay.
I think he'll be okay, but I think we might need to add, or we should have added another kicker for backup purposes. I'm not ready to, replace Alvano and get rid of him and stuff like that, but maybe a contingency plan at kicker would have been helpful. I don't know. I hope he does well. It's not me saying to get rid of him, but I'm just a little bit worried. I think, he has the leg. He just needs to work on his accuracy, so we'll see. But I think if we added another kicker, I wouldn't have been upset.
I know we do have what's Nico?
Nico Ottomanelli.
Ottomanelli.
Out of New Jersey. So
there's at least some competition there. Somebody pointed that out after one of our other streams when we were. So I mean, at least he's not going to be able to just walk into the job. And if he's missing, if he's struggling or has what I call the yips when kickers are missing short kicks, I think it's more mental than physical. Then they at least have another option. But I do think that Tristan will get it figured out though.
And Ottomanelli is a solid backup. So I mean, I think either way, we should be covered. I mean, but we'll see how it goes because it just seems like, and it's not just a Tristan thing. It seems like ever since I've been covering the team, we haven't had consistency at the kicking position. Even Connor Culp, who won like Big Ten Kicker of the Year in like 2020? Like he got the yips in 2021.
Yeah, it happens, and then Bushini wasn't quite as consistent last year. Hopefully he has.
He was hurt, wasn't he?
I think he was, yeah, and he did better at the end of the season though. Mitch does make a good point about Singleton, Deshaun Singleton. His health is a big key to having elite play at the safety position. Marcus Buford is back. Isaac Gifford, obviously. Hartzog's going to play there too. Matt Rule keeps mentioning Jeremiah Charles at cornerback. So I really think Jeremiah Charles is going to start at cornerback. Unless they just don't believe in him, but I don't think it's going to be Dwight Boodle and or Ethan Nation. And he keeps saying Jeremiah Charles and Malcolm Hartzog are next to Tommy Hill. So I would expect,
which is crazy when you think of like it's not going to be Dwight Boodle or Ethan Nation because those two are pretty good in their own right. So
yeah, for sure. I mean, but you look at people were kind of they kind of mocked me a little bit when I did a post about him after the slam dunk competition, and they're like, oh, what's the one slam dunk competition? I'm like, yeah, but I'm like, look at this dude. Like, cornerback is one position that you need to have that athleticism. You just can't, you can't really teach people that. And he's got it. And if you can teach somebody who's like 6'3", who can run and jump like that to play cornerback, then you've got something. And so I feel pretty good about that. But yeah, I still like Ethan Nation though. I think he's ahead of Boodle, but
you could post a link about starving puppies and people would complain. That's just the way they are. I mean,
yeah, that's true.
But also, just really quickly, Amari Sanders and Larry Tarver, not that they would play necessarily this year, but there's depth coming. It's just not here right now. I'm actually really
Jones
excited
too.
about
Just
Sanders.
ran a 10.73 in the 100, so he's coming to play cornerback too.
I'm actually really excited about Sanders and Tarver, so we'll see how they develop.
I'm really excited about Caleb Benning. I've said that before, but I think he's going to be a multi-year starter for Nebraska when it's all said and done. In terms of your question about the transfer portal, is there a window during fall camp this year for the grad transfers to jump ship? No, I believe no. At this point, I could be wrong on this. I'm not. I don't. Every time I think I know the rules, I don't. But I believe that graduate transfers can't even enter the portal now. I think
Kamir Prescott is the one that Mitch is referring to, the former Wisconsin commit. He's good too.
So I mean, don't take it to the. But I'm pretty sure that the transfer portal window's closed now, whether you're a graduate or not. Now I could be wrong on that. There might still be a window for graduate players to transfer, but I thought I read somewhere that they could transfer later. After that spring window, they had a couple of more days, but then it was cut off. I mean, guys still end up entering the portal, so maybe they can still enter, like if you graduate. But
I
that's
believe you're
it.
correct on that, but I'm having trouble following all these rules as well. So
yeah, so I mean, if you have somebody that graduated, like I guess technically they could transfer somewhere else, but I think that the rosters are pretty much set at this point. So I have to check on that.
Coach says, yeah, I think they can't this year, but I wasn't sure. Okay.
I mean, the guys can always, some have done this where they basically quit the team and they're saying, I'm going to transfer. And, but that seems like kind of a stupid thing to do if the school's paying for your scholarship or whatever, but who knows? Things have gotten so crazy with NIL and stuff that there's been reports of teams paying players on other teams to make sure that they secure them after the season in the transfer portal. So it would be like somebody being like, oh, hey, Cameron Leonard, we're going to pay you like $500,000 from, November to December to make sure that you go to the portal and then come here, to LSU or wherever, and that's just that part was totally made up, but that is happening. So
crazy.
it's really getting insane. And we need that settlement to go through, and we need to have some type of, salary cap contract structure, because there has to be something that protects the teams. Otherwise, like I said, there's nothing to prevent. What, like if you had this in the NFL, it would be absolutely insane, because Jerry Jones could throw money at Patrick Mahomes after every season. And I mean, sure, Patrick Mahomes probably isn't going to leave Kansas City, but do you think the Chiefs every year want to be bidding against Jerry Jones? And he's probably offering him like $300 million. I mean, it would be, that's what college football has turned into, where the best players, like literally this entire spring, Nebraska, Michigan, all these other schools are just trying to make sure that their best players don't leave. And that should not be the way that the system is. So, I mean, once you pay somebody, once you get them on your roster, there should be some type of set agreement for how long they're going to be there. And I hate that we have to go that route in college football, but that's where we are. It's basically just a mini pro league, and people just need.
Well, we need we need actual contracts at this point. I feel like, because it's time to stop pretending that this is about amateurism and academics. It's now a business, and I really think contracts would be the way to go.
Can you be more specific, Coke? You said that isn't something that Nebraska would want, though. Teams like Illinois, Purdue, Northwestern do. I'm not sure what you mean by that.
But yeah, no,
are you talking about the NIL stuff, or? But at any rate,
we need contracts.
Yeah, I mean, I think on both sides of things, because now it's, I mean, kids are getting guaranteed things. They're being like, yeah, we'll pay you $1 million, come to Florida. And then, they're not getting the $1 million they said they were going to,
right.
The limit a team can spend. Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
Yes,
I think Nebraska would want it, because at the end of the day, Nebraska, I mean, as much as we have to spend, I don't think Nebraska's ever going to be spending like Ohio State. To be honest with you, I just don't think that they would, and they haven't.
The athletic department budgets, like, you have to take into account that, because the limit for Holy Cross, or smaller program, or I'm trying to think of a D1 program off the top of my head, Toledo, would be a lot different than the limit for Ohio State, just based on their budget.
I mean, I just would want to limit, I guess, or some type of salary cap structure to. Just to keep things fair. I mean, is it going to be, is college football going to be, I mean, teams already do this. Teams have already, I mean, the best teams already get the best players. Like, do we need to give them a monetary advantage on top of that? Like, I really don't like what it's done to college football. And I don't think it's going to be I think it's going to get worse before it gets better unless something's done about it. And I mean, I think that Matt Rule and company do a great job, and they still recruit a lot of players that probably don't even require, that much like NIL up front. But it just,
Well,
I
again,
just
I
I
think
just
it's
don't
going to
like the
go.
way it works.
Yeah, again, I think it's going to go back to what coaches want to do this. I mean, not to pick on your Packers, but Jeff Hafley didn't want to do it, so he's in the NFL. Guys like Matt Rule, Mario Cristobal, like those type of guys who love recruiting and love the chase and love to develop and acquire talent are going to be able to stick around because they want to do this, new model of collegiate athletics. And it's going to be the ones who adjust that come out, the best. And then there's going to be the Nick Saban type guys who just rather complain about it and leave and, do something else.
So here we go. Mitch, the question: what does the final score need to be for the season opener for you to think we have a better chance of being a 10-win team than a 7-win team?
27-10.
I'm not really too worried about it that much. I mean, I think they need to win the game, but at the end of the day, I mean, I've seen teams that have played absolutely terrible at the first part of the season, and I thought they weren't going to be good, and then they ended up having solid records, and then I've seen other ones where they've gone in and just pounded group of 5 teams, and then it didn't matter. So I mean, I don't think that we should overreact to one game one way or the other. The Colorado game is going to tell me more than the UTEP game, because I just assume Nebraska is going to win that regardless. And to me, it doesn't really matter if it's 38-10 or if it's 50-10 or if it's 20-10, because it's UTEP. So I mean,
but I mean, even our last home opening win against South Alabama in 2019, we struggled in the first half, and that kind of told me a lot. And Nebraska was ranked in the top 25 at the time, and then they quickly were unranked following the victory.
Yeah, when was the last time we won a game by 25 points? Probably when they beat Northwestern by like 50 in 2021.
You're right. And I was going to even say Maryland in 2019, but because we beat Maryland bad in Maryland, I remember.
But yeah, I mean, they should come out and drill UTEP. But I mean, at the end of the day, it's, playing against UTEP's not going to be what decides if we're a 7 or a 10-win team. It's going to be, can we win those Big Ten games? Can we grind out those wins? Can we not beat ourselves? That's really the question. Can Nebraska not beat itself for the first time, over the course of a season since I can't remember when, 2016, 2018? I mean, it's been, no, those teams sucked. I can't even remember the last time we had a team that didn't, have a terrible record. So I'm not gonna, I'll be excited if they go out and beat UTEP 52-10, but it's not going to change my expectations either way, because I already think this team has what it takes to win between 8 and 10 games. Like, I already believe that right now. They just have to do it.
Are you kidding me? We'll be saying this is a playoff team, national championship caliber team if they beat UTEP 52-10, because that's just the way we do things.
But but that's the thing is, I already think, looking at this team, I know people will think I'm crazy, but I already look at this team and I see a team that could be ranked in the top 15. Like, I'm not saying like, oh, Nebraska's going to be top 5 and they're going to beat Oregon and Ohio State and yada yada yada. But the schedule's not that tough, okay? And if every game on this schedule, outside of maybe the Ohio State game, is winnable.
USC, I mean,
it's tough. Yeah, I would say winnable. I'm not saying they can win it, but look at who teams that USC has struggled with, though. Teams that are physical up front. That's what they struggle with. Like Lincoln Riley's team, we almost beat his fancy offense. If we could actually make a freaking field goal and could execute in the red zone, we would have won that game in Oklahoma in 2021. We should have won that game.
I remember that game. I thought we were going to, and that was right after the Buffalo game, if I remember correctly. And we had a solid game the week before. Came into Oklahoma. Omar Manning caught a deep touchdown pass. Oh, we were so close. That entire year, we were just so close.
So Co says I'm crazy.
You are, but we love you anyway.
Mitch says I'm with you. I mean, that's the thing, though. How is it crazy? Because literally last year, if we didn't have the worst quarterback situation in college football, they would have been an 8 to 10 win team.
We did it.
It's not crazy.
I'm just laughing because I'm thinking about quarterback situation last year.
And the schedule, I mean, USC and Ohio State, da 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 da. I mean, what are two things? Yeah, struggled with field goals and scoring in the red zone. No, you know what teams struggle with when they do that is when you don't have a quarterback. That tells
Yeah.
me you don't have a quarterback. That's not a Matt Rule thing.
Yeah.
That's a Heinrich Harburg, Chuba Purdy playing quarterback thing.
Jeff
That's
Sims
if
thing.
if you want to say that, okay, his team struggled at Carolina in the red zone. Yeah, he never had a quarterback. If you don't have a quarterback, you're not going to be good in the red zone. That's the whole deal. So, yeah, Dylan Raiola is not going to be. He's not going to struggle in the red zone. I mean, he's going to put points on the board, and that's why I'm telling you, man, a quarterback changes everything. When you have a quarterback, it changes everything, even in college football. And yeah, I'm not saying that we're going to go in there and kick USC's ass. I don't think, but this team can play with USC. I 100% believe that because they've got the defense. Their quarterback situation's not that great. And Nebraska's a physical ass team. You think USC is going to be able to run the ball against Ty Robinson and Nash Hutchmaker? I don't think so. I don't think anybody's running the football against this. I mean, even Ohio State. I wonder if Ohio State's going to run and then you know what? I'm wondering if Ohio State's going to be committed enough to running the football. That's why they got Chip Kelly, and that's why they actually somewhat worry me because you got to run the football to win in college football. I don't. Go back and look at. Outside of Joe Burrow, who had the greatest, receiving core of all time, you got to run the damn ball and you have to stop the run if you want to win. Look at Georgia, look at Alabama, look at Michigan, look at Clemson, all those years that they won. Yes, it helps having a great quarterback, but if you don't have an elite defensive line and if you can't run the ball, it doesn't make a difference. That's where Colorado is.
The whole stance on that Dabo Swinney has about not taking players from the transfer portal is absolutely mind-boggling to me.
Yeah, well, he's a nut job. So I don't.
Now that Trevor Lawrence is gone, the shine has disappeared a little bit from Dabo Swinney.
So Mitch said we lost 7 games last year for the same reason: turnovers and depth. Are those issues going to exist this year? No, and with a similar schedule, 80% of the roster returning and huge upgrades at the skill positions, this is a 9-10 win team. I agree. It's just I when I go up and down the schedule, it's not easy. And I could, they're going to probably lose games that we expect them to win. But I also think maybe for the first time in literally years, we could win some games that we aren't supposed to win with Matt Rule. And that would be nice to see because, that just hasn't happened. We just have, we'll win the game for 3 quarters. We'll look like we're going to win the game for 57 minutes and 25 seconds or 59 minutes and 25 seconds. And then we'll piss down our leg and lose it. So,
it doesn't matter who the coach is or who's on the roster lately.
So I've said it. My biggest concern with Matt Rule is that this program is just cursed, and there's nothing he can do to fix it. So
he's not Scott Frost 2.0, but he does have some things to prove.
I guess my biggest concern is that there's a supernatural power that is cursing this program. That is my only concern. And if Matt Rule fails, that will be the reason why, because he's done everything right. So, yeah. And then if the only concern you have is a kicker, that sounds like a fairly good team overall. I am a little bit worried about linebacker. That's another position, but I'm not that worried about it because I don't think inside linebacker is that important a position. I'll just be honest. I don't. It can be great if you have impact players, but I think you can get by with just some dudes there.
And we still have some guys that haven't been on campus yet that are coming. Obviously, Braylon Prude is one of them. Is it Prudy or Prude? I want to make sure I got his name right.
I'm not sure. I don't know. I can't say. I can't speak intelligently. I like that Mitch says we can hire a shaman to do some witchy voodoo. That'll be Matt Rule's next step. He'll get the best shaman out there. He'll learn the 5-star shaman.
I gotta say, it's interesting how these recruits are blown away by the visits that they've taken. Michael Terry, David Sanders' family. I don't know how realistic David Sanders is, but I like that we're making a good impression on these visits.
Yeah, Broderick Schull. I know there was an expert from 24/7, Tom Loy, who said that if he had to put in a crystal ball, it'd still be between Clemson or Ohio State. So
I don't really trust Tom Loy, to be honest with you, because anything
I don't trust him that much either. But
Prude, okay, Prude, gotcha. But yeah, no, I don't really trust a lot of these predictions.
And
except if it's Wilfong, or because a lot of these are just like homer predictions, and that's not just Tom Loy. That's pretty
yeah,
much, whoever covers the
I
team.
I trust I trust Wilt. Well, it's funny that the two guys I trust the most now work for On3, Simmons and Wilt Fong. But
Simmons is good.
um, I'm trying to think who else is good. But I mean, I know they're trying to make Loy more of a national guy at 24/7. So we'll see how he holds up. What's interesting though about this recruitment and that Clemson's, because Clemson's not really like a bag team. I don't know. I'm not sure if they are or not, but it seems like Ohio State would be the big payer. And then we know Nebraska can pay because they're paying Dylan like $1.5 million. So I don't know. It's interesting.
I'm gonna be interested to see what the price point for Michael Terry is.
And then
And
co-subs. Do you happen to know how durable Dylan was in high school? I want to say I don't remember him missing any games, but I'd have to check.
I
I'd have
don't
to check his
remember
high
off the
school
top of my
stats
head.
too. I'm gonna look up his stats
Well, I'm doing the same thing right now. Hold
because
on.
I'm sure that he's probably like on Buford. I'm sure it's probably on Max Preps.
Yeah, he played 13 games last year, and then 12 games in 2022 and 2021.
Yeah, so
So
he. I
durability
mean, and
doesn't
that's
seem
at
to be an
least with
issue.
the one, and the other school might not have, the numbers. But and then here's the completion percentage: 65%, 64%, 63%. I mean, that's big. That's what you need right there. 11 interceptions in 3 years, 88 touchdowns. 800 attempts. So you're throwing an interception once every 80
16,
attempts,
yeah,
basically.
16.7 yards per pass. Like that's what I'm looking at. I mean, we saw it, with the touchdown in the spring game. He's a deep ball thrower, and he's a big time playmaker.
What gets me the most excited is the way he reads defenses, because I think that's one thing that he does that is so advanced for his level. I mean, you don't see freshman quarterbacks come in there and make 4 or 5 reads. Even JJ McCarthy. I'm not going to try to talk a bunch about him, but he was not that advanced as
My
a freshman.
buddy,
Okay, like he
yeah,
wasn't. Dylan Raiola can see the entire field. He can move all these different things. He is built to play college football. I mean, he's built to be an NFL player. He's been around it his dad is an offensive lineman, so he understands protections. He wants to know protections. And then throws a really accurate football beyond all that mental stuff. He's incredible at, all the little check down plays. And he understands that being a quarterback is also just about being point guard too. You don't have to make an amazing throw. And that's something that like Patrick Mahomes is really good at that people don't give him credit for. Like, yes, he makes amazing throws, but he just gets the football to his guys and they get up the field. You know what I mean? Like, and he throws it accurately so that, when they go to make a move, they're not having to adjust to the football. And that's, I think, Dylan Raiola has a lot of those same qualities.
I think there's a little bit of pressure, obviously, because you want to perform for your school, and I think you want to make something of yourself, especially when you get that amount of money. I'm not sure there's a ton of pressure, only because the money being thrown around now is being normalized to the point where it's just like not expected, but you know what I'm saying? Like the lure of money and this NIL money is just being thrown around a ton. And, I think they look at it more as like a salary than, oh man, I got this big check, I got to perform. So I think they obviously want to perform well, but I'm not sure if there's any added pressure.
Yeah, I don't know. That does make me wonder sometime if that's gonna, if donors are gonna be like, man, I paid this guy a bunch of money and he didn't, he
I think
wasn't
there's a
throwing
lot of
down.
pressure on the school in that way. I don't know if it's the player so much, but
I mean, once that check cashes, man, there. I mean, yeah, I guess you want to live up to it, but as long as the old digits go into the bank account, then who really cares at the end of the
well, I
day?
think when you talk about NIL regulation, I think the numbers are going to reach a point where donors are going to be like, all right, I'm not going to pay $1 million for this guy unless he performs. I do think it's going to level itself out in a way where donors will start to be a little bit more cautious with their money, but I just don't know when that point will be. I do think it's coming soon, though, especially with some of these checks that these kids are cashing.
I hope the top earners are spreading the wealth around. I know you have a guy who's bought something like 250 containers of creatine for his room. LOL. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, kids aren't smart. So, is it smart to be giving kids lots of money? Probably not, but I mean,
Better that than
whatever. I hope some
dangerous
of
drugs or something. I don't know.
yeah. Hopefully some of them are investing it. Hopefully they're paying their taxes. Hopefully they're doing the things that they're supposed to be doing because they really could get a nice start on life, if they're smart about it. Maybe go buy some GameStop stock and sell it really quick this week. I don't know. I saw that was in the news for a while, and then I saw people saying to buy GameStop and not to buy GameStop, and then it went up and then it went down. All I know is I watched the documentary, so I was kind of interested in it. But talk to
I
somebody
gotta
that
say,
knows what you're doing and invest your money. That's
the
what I
last
would
time I went into
recommend.
GameStop, like actual GameStop, was the last NCAA game. Other than that, I just ordered online or digitally. Yeah.
I went there the other day. I bought a game for my PS4, a FIFA. I bought the FIFA in the game because it was like down from $60. I got it down to $7. I was like, all right, I'll go buy it.
Oh, you have a PS4 too? That's cool.
Yeah, I got a PS4, and then when I realized they weren't going to have the NCAA game on there, I had to go buy the Xbox. So
I think they might actually have it for the PS4 for just this one, or maybe not.
I don't think so. I think it's just on the next gen systems. So, yeah. But anyway, and then they make it cheap for the PS4 anyway. But yeah. And then the last time before that, I went in there. I had to get some Joy-Cons for my Nintendo Switch. And then before that, I bought Tears of the Kingdom. I got that pre-ordered, so I got that at midnight. So that was
I
pretty.
didn't know you were such a big gamer.
I mean, I'm not really, but I've kind of turned into one, I guess. But so I got the PS4, the Xbox S, and the Nintendo Switch. And if they do come out with a Switch 2, I'll have to get that because they'll probably finally come out with a new Mario Kart. We're stuck on Mario Kart 8 from it's so annoying that they released the Switch. And they just copied over the Mario Kart game from.
That's the same Mario Kart game from like 5 years ago.
Yeah, and it's
Yeah.
an awesome game. I think Mario Kart's like a top 10 all-time game, but it's like, come on, dude, we need Mario Kart 10. We needed it like 5 years ago. I'm sick of this.
Nebraska does a great job with NIL teaching kids, and I feel like every school should do that because I didn't even take a personal finance class until I senior year of high school.
Yeah.
So I feel like there needs to be honestly more focus on personal finances and less focus on how many sides a rhombus has. But that's just me.
There probably should be. Yeah, they need to teach you more about that type of stuff. And then, but at any rate,
I saw this too, actually.
What's
It
that?
says Super Mario World is coming to Orlando Universal Studios, and I saw like videos of the thing of this in California, and it looks really, really cool.
And they're actually coming out. They had the Super Mario movie, so they're coming out with a Zelda movie, which I think is going to be pretty freaking awesome.
Okay,
so
yeah.
I'm pretty stoked about that. And on that rate, you guys better wrap it up here. Got to get back to the baby and get back to work. So we'll wrap up the chat there. Thanks everybody for the engagement. It was another fun chat. If you're watching on the replay, thanks again, and please like and subscribe. We'll be back on Monday morning with another podcast. Hopefully, we'll be celebrating a Big Ten championship later. Mitch, have a great weekend. Thanks for all your questions again. We really appreciate it.
Thanks.
And,
thanks, buddy.
Yep. Thanks a lot, buddy. And always go Big Red.
Go Big Red.
Have a great weekend.